Hey guys, buckle up because today we're diving into something that could flip the entire No Prep Kings championship upside down. The mid-season point standings for Speed Promotions, plus how the last 3 races are going to add a serious twist, with bonus points on the line. If you're a fan of strategy, comebacks, and high-stakes drag racing, you do not want to miss this. Now, before I hit you with the numbers, let me just say, this part of the season is like the final laps of a NASCAR race when the caution flag comes out. Everyone's bunched up, nobody's playing safe, and one wrong move can cost you everything. So where do we stand? Scott Sayler is sitting at the top of the heap with 120 points. He's been consistent, deadly on the tree, and hasn't let the pressure shake him. But the Hungry Wolves are right behind him. Chris Rankin holds second at 100 points, and then we've got a 4-way tie for third: Dean Carnes, Kai Kelly, Sean Murdernova Ellington, and Nate Sayler, all at 80 points. That's tight. Behind them, Paige Coughlin and Jeff Lutz are tied for 7th. Then we got Cole Pest tied with Ryan Martin for 9th. Yes, Ryan's been struggling by his standards this season, but don't sleep on him. He's found some consistency and is clearly getting faster. This is Ryan Martin we're talking about. If anyone can mount a late-season charge, it's him. The rest of the field includes heavy hitters like Mike Bowman, Dave Mendez, Carson Baker, Chevy Reeves, and others, all clawing for every point they can. And let's not forget about Kayla Morton. Word is she should be back soon. The car wasn't far from finished at the last event, so fingers crossed we see her back in the lanes before season's end. Now here's where it gets spicy. The last 3 races of the season aren't just regular points races, they've got added points, and that changes everything. This format started a couple seasons back, around season 6, when they decided to make the end of the season extra dramatic. The next 2 races will be worth 1.5 points, and the final race will be double points. Think about what that means in a season this short. We've only got 6 races total counting for the championship. In past years, we had 14, 15, even 17 or 18 events in a season. That gave you time to recover from a bad weekend. Not this year. A first-round loss in one of these high-points races can knock you out of the top 5 instantly. And if you're sitting mid-pack, one deep run could shoot you into championship contention overnight. Normally, each round win is worth 10 points. But in these upcoming races, it jumps to 15 points per round. Then, in that final double points race, we're talking 20 points per round. That's the kind of swing that can turn the standings upside down. The first of these high-stakes races is coming up fast, August 15th in Washington. Now, Washington's track has a bit of a reputation. Last year it was unpredictable, tricky surface, inconsistent grip, and the air wasn't great for making power. And remember, this is NPK. There's no restriction on power adders. You can throw everything you've got at the track, but if you can't make it stick, you're going home early. This is the point in the season where smart tuning and lane choice matter as much as horsepower. The guys who can adapt fastest will rise. The ones who can't, well, let's just say you'll see them standing on the starting line earlier than they'd like. I've been saying it all year. Consistency beats hero passes in a championship chase like this. Sure, you can swing for the fences and put up a killer number. But if it takes you out of the groove and you lose first round, all those big ETs don't mean much. The drivers who can go rounds in these last 3 events, even if they're not the quickest in the field, could very well steal the title from the heavy hitters. So here's my advice if you're watching this as a fan. Pay attention to the mid-pack runners. Watch guys like Ryan, Paige, and Cole. They're sitting in that perfect spot where one deep run can make them relevant in the championship hunt. And keep your eyes on the veterans at the top because now they've got everything to lose. And that's when mistakes start creeping in. And for the racers, this is the time to get your head right. Your combo should be tested, your setup dialed, and your crew ready for quick turnarounds. No excuses. You want that championship? You're going to have to earn it over the next 3 races. So who's your pick? Will Scott Sayler hold the lead? Will Chris Rankin make a late-season push? Will Kai Kelly or Murdernova surge in these points-heavy races? Or will someone from mid-pack, maybe even Ryan Martin, pull off the comeback of the season? Now, let's talk about the psychological game in these final races. Points are one thing, but the mental strain is real. When you know a first-round loss could drop you 5 or 6 spots in the standings, you start second-guessing your tune-up, your lane choice, even your burnout routine. And once doubt creeps in, it's over. That's when you start seeing drivers red light, shake the tires, or blow the tires off completely at half-track. And this is where experience pays off. Guys like Scott Taylor, Kai Kelly, and Murder Nova have been here before. They've been through seasons where everything came down to 1 or 2 passes. They know how to block out the noise, focus on the tree, and trust their crew to give them a car that can win. But even for the veterans, this year's shortened schedule changes everything. There's no, "I'll make it up next weekend." You don't have a next weekend. You've got right now. One thing to watch is how different track conditions will play into these points-heavy events. Washington, for example, isn't the same as a sticky, hot weather track in the South. Cooler air can mean more power than you can handle, and suddenly your 3.65 setup in Alabama becomes a tire shaker in Washington. This is where tuners earn their keep, pulling just enough power to stay hooked without getting left behind. Another factor is team dynamics. Late in the season, you'll start to see alliances form. Teammates might help each other gather data, share lane info, or even give a little friendly advice about what the track is doing. And let's be honest, sometimes you'll see situations where a teammate might not lean quite as hard against a fellow crew member if it means keeping points in the family. It's part strategy, part loyalty, and all part of the NPK game. But the drama isn't just on the track, it's also in the pits. Broken parts at this stage of the season can be devastating. You grenade a motor or smoke a transmission in Washington, and now you're scrambling just to make the next event. And remember, these aren't just bracket cars. We're talking about big power, high dollar, hand-built monsters that don't exactly have spare engines sitting around on a shelf. One catastrophic failure and your season might be over. Fans, here's why you should care. These last 3 races will be some of the most unpredictable racing of the year. The points are tight, the air is tricky, the tracks are different, and the stakes couldn't be higher. You're going to see red lights, you're going to see wild pedal fests, and you might even see a points leader go out in the first round. And every single upset will send shockwaves through the standings. And if you're new to NPK and wondering why these added points matter so much, this is what keeps it exciting. If points were the same all year, you could basically crown the champ halfway through. But by cranking up the points at the end, it keeps every driver in the hunt, and it forces the leaders to keep pushing instead of playing it safe. Let's also not forget about the wild cards. Those racers who might not be running for the championship but have nothing to lose. They're going to throw everything at the tree, swing for the fences on tune-up, and try to steal a win just for bragging rights. And those guys can be the ultimate spoilers. They might not care about the points, but they could take out a championship contender in round 1 and flip the whole standings upside down. And finally, here's my challenge to you. Pay attention to the storylines as much as the win lights. Because over the next 3 races, you're going to see rivalries heat up, friendships tested, and a championship decided by inches. This is the kind of drama that makes Street Outlaws so addictive. It's not just about who's fastest, it's about who can survive the pressure and still deliver when the chips are down.